Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Happy Thursday, Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Del Mendo. As the playoffs continue, without our Chicago Cubs, we have our report cards and grades ready to hand out. Still being hurt?
Yeah.
Still hurts?
Still sucks. Any year the Cubs aren't in the playoffs, it sucks.
Chet Hoyer said the same thing.
He did say the same thing.
Basically.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I hope he means it, but I definitely mean it. So.
We'll talk playoffs. We'll talk a little bit about one of the Cubs prospects, and then we have report cards for two key members of the team last season, Kyle Hendricks and Jonathan Villar.
I was say key. Very loosely.
Well, that's in quotes. They're both in quotes for last season.
Frank says hi. Hi,
What's
Frank.
up, Frank?
The tough part about the Astros Yankees
chat.
Yeah, Frank, how about that? Yankees Astros last night. The tough part about that was going up against the Bulls.
Yeah.
So unless you had the 2 TV thing going, you were scanning.
I was definitely watching the Bulls game. I followed the score for Yankees Astros, but I didn't have it on. I didn't watch an inning of it.
Rizzo hit another homer.
Yeah, I saw. I'm not mad about it. I'm actually not mad about it. It just sucks.
I'm mad about it because then I told you I just needed Altuve to get a hit. But like if Rizzo didn't get the hit, then I would have been okay.
You're wagering reasons.
Yeah,
you had money on the line.
I would have been. I feel like if you lose 2 legs, you feel a little better about something than if you lose 1 leg, right? If you're gambling.
Yeah. Well, I had a same game
I thought
parlay
you
on
meant
the
in
Bulls.
general. I was like, I don't think that's right.
I had a same game parlay. On the Bulls game, and it missed by 1 leg. So even though the Bulls won, I still managed a way to find some pain.
I hit mine. Let's go.
Game, so.
I didn't catch a whole lot of that Yankees game. I think most people thought the Astros with the rest would be the team to beat in that first game of the series. So not surprising.
The Yankees started hot. You know, the greatest player since Mike Trout, Harrison Bader.
He homered
again.
again.
He hit a homer.
I don't know how he's.
And they took the lead early, but then Astros did what Astros do. They just look dominating. Honestly, like they haven't lost this postseason yet. Like I don't.
Yeah.
We sit here and talk about how the Cubs need to be like the Dodgers and that all the time, but like weirdly, like I've started to feel like they need to be more like the Braves and the Astros. I mean, the Braves this year, faltered in October, but the way they find a way to extend to their young players, and then the Astros, they just lost Correa last year,
They didn't
miss a beat. And I know, and it's not just Justin Verlander. They have just a bunch of guys that just find a way to play good. And I know everyone wants to hate him because of the whole cheating thing, but like, not only are most of those guys not on that team anymore, but like, I don't know. It's to me like, I don't want them to win the World Series, but to me, it's getting to the point where it's like, I think you just got to respect them at some point. Like, you don't have to like them, but like, a lot of people don't even respect them. And it's like they had the whole cheating thing, but they went to the ALCS 6 straight years. Like,
I don't know how Verlander's doing it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know how he's doing it, but I do know that not getting Verlander when he wanted to come here is top 5 things that the Cubs messed up.
Yeah, that's probably
for sure. That's top 5 things
in
they messed up.
In hindsight, it definitely sucks. Yeah.
I wonder what the cost between getting Verlander versus like Quintana at that point in time. Like
Verlander was he was struggling at the end of his tenure with the Tigers. Yeah. Like, I don't know if like
that was 2017.
Quintana was cheaper and had more control, I think, too.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, would it have costed more to get Justin Verlander?
I think less
versus
at that point. Yeah,
I'm guessing it was maybe less.
He was in his 30s. Quintana's in his late 20s, right? Like, you would have thought, but the Cubs
more accomplished
in a way. I understand it because like they already had veteran pitching anyway, like Lester and Cole Hamels Cole Hamels was 2018, but they had they didn't have a young pitcher in the staff other than Kyle Hendricks. And
I got to be honest, I forget Cole Hamels pitched for the Cubs.
Yeah.
I will say Verlander, 2016, 5.4 WAR according to Fangraphs, which is really good for a pitcher, and then 4.1 in 2017. So I don't know. I think they would have had to buy up to get Verlander versus maybe that's what it is. Is like the asking price for Quintana was less than it was for Verlander. Like, oh, this guy's been good for the Sox. Like, I don't know. That's a interesting question, but
paid for a Cadillac, got a Buick. Paid for a Porsche, would have got a Porsche. It's the way it turned out.
And an all-timer. I mean, Verlander's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Padres rally. I was surprised by that. I got home and saw Padres were down 4-0, and then to put up 6 runs against Aaron Nola, it was like they were in real danger of that series slipping away very quickly.
Yeah.
And now they're back in it.
Juan Soto again, man. Cardinals could have had him, but they had so much value in Dylan Carlson. Hate to see it.
Well, what was I going to say? Austin Nola kind of helped spark that.
Yeah, his brother,
like,
right?
Off his brother.
The video of his dad,
it's
like in the stands, and he doesn't know how to react.
Dad's like,
that was that was. We were watching it here because you guys had already left, and I was waiting out traffic to get home. Yeah. We were watching it, and then all of a sudden, put up like how much was it, like a 5-spot, 6-spot in that inning? Like they just all of a sudden they were just up. They couldn't stop hitting, and Aaron Nola, because Aaron Nola was pitching well before that, and then all of a sudden he gave up a base hit to his brother, and maybe that shot his confidence, because then it just went downhill from there.
Yesterday we were talking about the Phillies and Schwarber and everything, but like this Padres team, like
they're loaded.
They're good. They're good, and like I don't want to say it was criticism at the deadline, but we did talk about how they were so far back in the division. You add a guy like Juan Soto, and you add Josh Bell, and to go with the pitching, like Yu Darvish still looks like Yu Darvish that was with the Cubs, like
Joe Musgrove pitches
Joe
well.
Musgrove,
right?
That team actually is good, and I'm not saying the Phillies are bad. They definitely, got away with the fact of expanded playoffs, and they're playing well at the right time. But that's definitely like a lightning in a bottle type situation where the Padres, like, they were good all year, and they more than deserving got into the playoffs.
They're doing it without Tatis.
Yeah.
Arguably their best guy. Like, I mean, I don't think he is, but like.
I mean, he was on the face of a video game a year ago.
Yeah. I mean, Cody even not neglected, but you didn't even mention Manny Machado, who played MVP level season this year.
Manny Machado, he hit a homer
yesterday. That team was good, and I mean, you saw it with the Braves last year. Didn't have Acuna for the whole second half, and obviously the playoffs, and they won the World Series. Like, if you just have a good team, like, superstars are the ones that make the difference a lot of the times, but if you just have a really good team in general, there are ways to pick up that slack, and the Padres obviously are a really good team, regardless of what their regular season record was.
Yeah, depth is the other thing, right? Like we've seen the Cubs lose one guy, and it's everything unravels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you have to have a lot of good players, even if they're great players. It's been fun to watch. I do get a kick out of whatever game you're watching. The fans are in a frenzy, and they got the rally towels out, and I can't help but think like there's so many people that are just frauds in those stands. Like, they're all having a great time. I don't hold that against them, but it's so funny to watch all these people pretend like they're huge Padres fans when you can go to a game, any regular season game that you want to in San Diego. There's too much else going on, but you get to the postseason and everybody looks like they're
giant Padres
living
fans.
and dying every pitch. Yeah,
those teams that get to savor Sunny and 75 every year. Like, it's I have a old buddy of mine. Shout out to Tommy. We used to talk about on the podcast I used to do with him. That kind of led to me getting this job. We used to talk about how teams that are like on the West Coast or in warm weather states, like, they don't deserve championships because their fans get sunny and 75 12 months out of the year.
Right.
Meanwhile, all of us here in Chicago, we get summertime shy from like what? Mid to late May to
like early September.
Early September-ish, yeah. And like we have to watch the Bears not only suck, but we have to like deal with the Chicago weather at the same time. Like
At least the Bulls look good.
like we are built different in this city because like our mood is literally ran on if our teams are good or not. So a lot of us are angry.
I will say
Those people, like Luke just said, like no one gives a shit about what's going on there.
we'll always look at Michael Collada's comments. I actually kind of agree with this one. It's like we're talking about the Padres. He's like, what's what you get when the owner cares and wants to win. And I'm not saying it in the same sense of Collada. I know he's talking about Ricketts.
Yeah.
I don't agree in that sense. But when you have owners that are willing to go out and spend the money, and
they didn't spend for Soto.
Hasn't worked for the Mets. Hasn't worked for the Mets, though.
They spent a lot of their prospect capital. That's different than just giving money.
That's true.
I mean, you look at Steve Cohen. I mean, the Mets obviously didn't win anything this year, but they still 101 win team. Had a shot. Made the playoffs. The Yankees. We keep talking about them, but the Yankees are going to spend money because of the Yankees. The Red Sox do it. The Dodgers do it. The Cubs can be that. And I'm not saying that Ricketts is a penny pincher and isn't going to want to spend money ever. But if they do it, and with Jed talking about intelligent spending, if they do it the right way, spend the right money, get the right players, there's always a shot that they could be, the Dodgers, of course, but I guess the end goal. But man, even next year, you spend the right money, you get the right pieces, they could be in the position that the Dodgers are in right now. I don't know that they'll have on paper even close to the same level of team that the Padres do, but they could easily be an 86, 87 win team and sneak into the playoffs, and then anything can happen after that.
Nice
right now.
Nice when Juan Soto falls to you.
Well, yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and like, yeah, that's the thing though, is the Padres had the prospect capital, and that's why me and Luke at the deadline were like, we'd love to have him, but like, how much you really gonna have to give up for him? And it's like, maybe if the Cubs were in a position to win next year, right? Like, and I'm saying win the World Series, then I would have been like, yeah, let's do it. But if you trade for if they would have traded all those prospects for Juan Soto, I still don't think that they would be in the position to win the World Series next year, considering everything they would have had to give up.
The difference is they had a major league team that was ready to win. Exactly what you're saying. Like, they had a major league team ready to win, and they had a great farm system. So the smart thing to do is trade from the farm system. Mm-hmm. The Cubs have no major league team and have a pretty good farm system.
Right. I'm going to disagree, and I think we've disagreed about this the last few months. Is like, there's never a good time to go out and get a Juan Soto type player because those guys don't become available, especially not when they're 23, 24 years old with multiple seasons of team control left. Like, that doesn't ever happen. So when it does, that is always the right time. It's the opposite. It's always the right time.
But aren't you going to just waste them?
I just don't think it would have made the difference.
The goal is always to re-sign him, and that's a caveat is you need to be able to re-sign him. You need to get an extension done before you bring him in.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're the Cubs. Again, you are the third largest market in the entire major leagues. You have the money if you need to go out and get free agents to build around him, start build a winner quicker. You have the money to do that.
But you're going to end up right back. I'm not saying I don't want to get him. Because then you have no farm system, which allows you to get those more expensive players because you're paying nothing to all the young players.
Because we've talked about this whole time how the depth of the farm system is the strength right now, and this whole overhaul in the pitching infrastructure. If that's all true, then you have to have confidence that you're gonna whoever you draft or whoever international prospects you bring in are gonna be better depth than what you had the last time around. Like,
I just don't think their farm system now is what the Padres farm system was.
Exactly. And I'm not saying it is, but you.
And they don't have Machado, and they don't have Tatis, and they don't have Darvish, and they like.
But
there's so many holes. Like,
but the thing is, you're still built. Like, we even talked about the pitching infrastructure has only been changing and the depth growing for the last 2 years. Like, you're not going to see the dividends of all that right away. So I think if you're the Cubs and you're confident that you've made the right changes and all that development, because that was the tough part last rebuild. The prospect development just wasn't there. If you've made the right changes, you made the right what you need to do to make sure that doesn't happen again. Then going out and trading maybe 4 of your top prospects and maybe a couple major leaguers for a guy like that isn't going to kill your farm system. I don't agree with that. I think that you're going to deplete your entire farm. Maybe you lose some of your top end prospects, but you got to be confident that you're going to have more that will take their place.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. But it still takes time to then grow those to grow more of those prospects back. And
that's why
every team needs young guys to go with those veteran free agents or whatever as well. And I know Juan Soto was an outlier.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's different. That's why it's a different scenario.
But I just don't think it would have moved the needle for the Cubs. They would have had to significantly spend a ton of money this offseason, and maybe they would have if they would have done it. And if so, then yeah, I would have got on board with it, and you would have convinced me that they're going to the World Series. But with
what do you need to move the needle for next year? He's 23. Like you'll have if you are able to re-sign him.
You might just waste 24, 25, 26.
But then he's still got 4 or 5 more years of prime Juan Soto when you've built what you want. Even if it does take 3 more years, you still have 4 or 5 more years of prime Juan Soto. Like I don't get.
I guess it just depends on what the package is. I just think it would have been.
Well, they had to send they had to send 5 guys to the Nationals, and one of them was Mackenzie Gore, who.
Well, I think they sent 4 former first-round picks, right? Something like that.
I think it was two. Was it 2 of their
Gore,
top 5?
C.J. Abrams and Hassel, who was their top prospect.
I think it was 2 of their top 4 or 5 prospects, and then 2 other major league ready guys. But it's a difference because we're not talking about getting a trading for a 32-year-old player. This is a guy that could be all-star for the next 9 years. So if it takes 2 more years to get back to World Series contention, you haven't really wasted him.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree that you have to have the conversation, but you also, I would assume, agree that there is a point where it becomes too expensive. There is some point where we couldn't say, all right, we'll give you Nico, PCA, Owen Casey, Brennan Davis. We'll give you Wesneski. We'll give you.
Well, yeah,
at some point there's a cutoff. I would assume if they were in that conversation at all, that they were like, okay, that's too much.
I don't know if they were. I don't
even think it's that. I just think that the way that they want to build the team is. The Cubs just weren't in position. They want to build their team with the guys that they have on the farm and spend intelligently, like Jed said, and they can do that. And I just think that if the Cubs if they are in the race next year. And just theoretically, if Juan Soto was available, then I would say that yeah. But I just don't see it. And you're not going to convince Juan Soto to be extended when you bring him to a team that isn't good and doesn't have anything around him, because he was literally that on the Nationals. Yeah, he hasn't even signed an extension with the Padres yet, and they're in the playoffs, and he knew he was going.
I don't know that they've had considerable extension talks. That obviously also comes out.
He'll have a year, 2 years after this season, right?
Like Ohtani, I'd rather pay him when that comes up.
For sure.
I'd rather give him the cash and hang on to my prospects.
We can literally sit here and yell at each other about this, about him and Ohtani, and I think it's just significantly different because of the lack of years left for Ohtani. He'll be a free agent after next season. Juan Soto, it's a lot different, and yes, I would have given up whatever it takes to get Juan Soto. Again, I just think the timing was not
up to a point. You would have.
I can't agree with.
No, I would have. I say that. Yeah, I would give up Nico for Ohtani, but I would too. I don't think you have to for Soto Ohtani. Too. I would for absolutely would for Soto, but I would for Ohtani, but I don't think the Cubs have to for Ohtani, and we've had that conversation.
Ohtani feels like he's going to end up hitting free agency next year.
Yeah, because the Angels aren't going to get anything that they really want for him because they didn't move him at the deadline like the Nationals did with Soto. Because they're going to have 1 year. 1 year. The clock is ticking for the Angels to get something for him.
No.
We've had this conversation.
Speaking of Cubs prospects, we're talking about building up the farm system like they've done. I don't want to press a panic button, but it did catch my attention when I saw that article about Brennan Davis not playing the last couple weeks at the Arizona Fall League after back surgery. They say it's not anything to do with his back surgery. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
And I'll tell you one reason I don't. Another reason it's kind of tacked onto the I don't like it. On the heels of the Zach LaVine thing, which I also don't like. You don't get that contract. And he clearly wants to play, right? And he's a tough guy. So something's bothering his knee after a full off season and a surgery.
General
And I don't know.
soreness.
I don't know what the general soreness is, but I don't like it.
I agree. It's like incredibly vague, and I don't love it.
Yeah,
that's how it's termed.
if he plays tomorrow, fine, totally good. If another week goes by and he's not playing now, I'm starting to go. Or if he doesn't play the rest of the fall league.
I will also say that when we talked to Jed last week, was that last week? Yeah, and he talked about Brennan not being at full strength, obviously because of the back surgery and having to get back into that and get back into playing games. So maybe it's just something where, again, he's not in full baseball shape. Something came up, not overly serious, but something enough that they wanted to sit him down for a little bit. And because it's the Arizona Fall League, and you really, really do not want to risk another bigger injury, they're like, okay, we'll just take it really, really slow. Make sure you're good. There's games going for another two-ish weeks, I think. We'll give you a few extra
November,
days. A few extra days. Make sure you're really good before we put you back out there.
I'm with you. That's what I'm hoping it is. I just don't like the way teams in town deal with this stuff. And it just gives me kind of a little queasy stomach worrying that it's more than that with something else. Like, it's just like you said, it's a very vague, and they don't have to because it's the Arizona Fall League. It's just sort of vague. I just don't know why they couldn't say, his quad was sore.
No.
So he's taken off 10 days. We don't want to risk anything.
Frank,
Why just say it's general soreness?
Yeah, Frank in the chat says, I hope I'm wrong, but he seems injury prone. And here we go.
I mean, the one thing wasn't even really an injury.
Every
It was,
time.
The one thing, the back thing is sort of a
Nico.
hereditary thing, isn't it? I don't believe it's actually even an injury.
Yeah. And I,
it wasn't
I
like an injury.
understand.
It was
No, it was
I understand
degenerative
fans
thing. I don't know
wanting.
if that's the right term.
I understand
Yeah.
fans wanting to jump to that because of the back thing and everything, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Luke. I don't like it, but I'm also not really that worried about it.
I hope I'm saying that in like 10 days.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if he doesn't play the rest of the fall league, there's something there,
Yeah.
right?
You'd think.
Yeah. Oh, I have something that just popped
Oh,
up.
about injury. Yeah, it's hockey.
Something that just
Upper
popped
lower.
up on my timeline. Nico Horner is not a finalist for the Gold Glove at shortstop.
Really?
Nice.
Ha-Seong Kim from the Padres, Miguel Rojas from the Marlins, and Dansby Swanson from the Braves. That surprises me. I'm not saying he was going to win,
Wow.
but to not be a finalist, that surprises me.
Hap will be a finalist.
He's not
He's
going to
not
be
a finalist.
He's not?
Hap
No.
will be a
What?
finalist, but Nico, no. Huh? Interesting.
What?
Nope.
We've talked about the defensive pairings, by the way. If they
So he's going to
add
stay at B+
Correa-
for you.
Stays B+. Stays B+. Dansby Swanson may not be the top of everybody's shortstop list for free agency, but now you're talking about, like, again, defensively, they'd be much better.
Yeah.
Much, much
It's
better.
going to be interesting what his market is. Because Swanson's
Could be-
a good player, great player.
He's not Trey Turner, but
But he's not, yeah.
but
And-
he might
and
it might be a nice consolation
And it
prize.
took
if he
him.
can't-
It took him a few years to even like reach the expectation of what he was. He was a first overall pick, right?
Was he?
Of the
Swanson?
Diamondbacks. I thought he was a first overall pick of the Diamondbacks, and then they traded him for Shelby Miller. He was part of the Shelby Miller trade.
he could be a value.
Yeah.
When you talk about, because there's so many shortstops available, you might get a value for him. I'm not saying he's the
Diamondbacks
top
first
of,
overall,
I'm not saying
2015.
he's the top of my list for like, that's the guy I want at shortstop, but I do like the defensive side of it.
Yeah, it does feel like he's getting closer and closer to signing an extension with the Braves.
Yeah.
Like, the Braves are just
They do that with
locking up
every player.
every
Sure.
guy, everyone in that like starting lineup is going to be locked in for a few more years.
Every player, man.
I think most guys are more likely to stay with their current team
Correa is the
if
only
they're
one.
decent.
Correa is the only one.
Oh, he's gone.
That I feel like he's definitely opting out.
Yeah.
Maybe Bogarts just because.
But I've heard they're making a
if-
hard push, right? Haven't you read that? Like, that the Red Sox are trying to do
Yeah.
everything they can now to keep Bogarts.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
I didn't read that. Well, I was getting ready to say it's like, well, if they're gonna trade Mookie Betts, then they ain't keeping anyone around if they don't have to. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know how else to say it. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to come down to would they rather have Bogarts or Devers? It's like that's what I was feeling like it's going to come down to me for the Red Sox. Like do we want to invest all our money in
I
Rafael
hope they have
Devers,
to
keep
deal
him
with that.
around,
Yeah.
and let Bogarts walk, or do we want to keep Bogarts around and find a trade partner for Devers? I don't know that for sure, but it's starting to I'm getting that sense that it may end up being one or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nico not a shortstop, Gold Glove shortstop finalist. That's surprising.
B plus. B plus. It's still a solid grade. It's a very good season.
I just can't believe he's not finalist.
Yeah.
That's some shit.
What do you think?
How many names?
I
were
thought
there?
you
4?
said that he was.
No.
How many finalists were there? 3 or 4?
3.
Boy, that does seem like. I feel like he could be in the top 3.
Yeah, I feel like he should have. He was like second in defensive runs saved all year. Outs above average was second.
Well, you know what? Fuel to the fire.
There you go.
Fuel to the off-season fire.
Chip on his shoulder.
You want to do Shady Rays, Ryan? Did you guys get your shades yet? I haven't received my
yet,
shades.
not
I'm
yet.
looking
Still
forward to
haven't got my
it.
shades.
I ordered
still,
some shades up. Looking forward to that.
I've been on Chris. I've been telling him like we need those because I want my Shady Rays. I've seen them. Like I have
me too.
Friends that have Shady Rays, but I'm like I want a pair of my own.
Yeah, next 4 days in the
Oh my
70s.
God, you need those for that.
Hello, fall time shy.
That'd be great.
70s,
Oh, yeah.
spectacular.
But yeah,
Cody's gonna have the Hawaiian out this weekend.
oh, I wasn't thinking about it.
Homecoming Hawaiian.
Yeah,
Probably
homecoming
gonna be
Hawaiian.
warm in Missouri too.
I was going to be like 80s in Missouri.
See, I'd break out the wine if I were you.
But for Shady Rays, they never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, so they set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. Shady Rays are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear, lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Like Luke, if you drop them in the lake or you're going hiking, you drop them off a cliff, anything, they'll replace them. Even with that strong of a protection program, they still manage to make quality that I can tell you holding in my hand seems just as good as any expensive pair that I have ever worn. Shady Rays customers seem to agree with over 200,000 5-star reviews. Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed and have donated over 20 million meals to date. They stand behind their product and told our team that if anyone has a problem, they throw profit out the window and do what it takes to get it right. Free returns and exchanges. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay to ship them back. That's it. And now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at ShadyRays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at ShadyRays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades.
There's nothing worse than sitting on a pair of your shades. Right?
Yeah.
Sit on your sunglasses,
Yeah,
lose your sunglasses, forget them somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's the worst. Look, they just fall. I don't know. You just fall off your head. Sometimes I'll put them on the back of my hat.
Oh yeah.
And they might Luckily, I've had pairs in the past that just kind of fall.
Mm-hmm. Get chased by a bear. Glasses fall off. Shady Rays has got your back.
Oh yeah.
Our next partner is a product I've been using basically every day. I started taking AG1 because I didn't have time. I wanted better gut health, more energy, and optimized immune system. Now, I've been on it for months, and I love it. It's not super healthy tasting, but it is super healthy. Tropical taste, even. So here's what it is. 1 scoop of AG1, you absorb 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Still don't know what adaptogens are, but I know they're in there to help start your day right. A special blend of ingredients supporting your gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging, all of those things. Hear everybody coughing this time of year? This helps the old immune system out. I get a noticeable boost of energy. So the first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, giddy up, there I go. And lifestyle friendly too. Whether you're keto, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, or just old, you're all good with AG1. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day, recommended by professional athletes, more than 7,000 5-star reviews. So right now, time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. You don't need a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D, plus 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
I was looking at the Rawlings baseball Twitter account, and they've put out some other ones. Still waiting on left field for our guy Ian Happ. Rizzo, finalist for AL for first base. Xander Bogaerts and Carlos Correa, finalists for shortstop in the American League.
What about Rivas? Rivas wasn't on there?
Rivas was not on there.
Brennan's not happy about these.
He's not. He's not. I just retweeted him from our account.
He's
no surprise. But yeah, I mean, it is surprising to see that he's not a finalist.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I did the numbers and I'm like, if anything, I'm like I know Hap will likely be a finalist, but I'm like Nico actually maybe has a good shot to win too, and it didn't happen. It doesn't even have a chance.
Why
to win
these
now
awards are stupid, and using them to define if a player is good or not is dumb.
Yeah, I'm not that into it. I will tell you this, though. I was envious last night. I don't know if envious is the right word. I look forward to the day when this Cubs team is really legit and competitive. You watch our Bulls show last night. If you guys aren't watching the Bulls postgame, I mean, they're the best team we got going right now.
Yeah.
That's easy.
500 people.
Like an active team, 500 people watching that first game.
Yeah,
on the YouTube postgame.
I think it was almost 6,000 views when I opened it up this morning.
The highest total I think we had live this past season was probably the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think we got to 8. What was it at? Like 100?
That or like the very first show we did. Or opening day.
There was a couple. There was a couple big ones.
500, and again, they've got a lot. Despite the win, they have a lot of reasons to be like, we're probably an 8 or 9 seed. But it's still the best thing we got going in town right now.
Best thing in
like
town.
actively, there's a lot of reasons to hope that the Cubs are going to be having a big offseason.
Down on them. The market's down on them. Right now is a great time to bet the Bulls overs on whatever because you can probably get a good price.
You mean in games? Because I don't think they're winning more. They won 46 games last year. They're not winning 46 this year.
The over-under
now
total.
Now with Patrick Williams playing like that.
The
now
over-under total.
Zach Levine,
is 41.5.
Now without Ball.
I mean,
I think
DeMar can't do that every night. I mean,
Goran
Dragic
and Andre Drummond, they look
pretty good.
I
like the Drummond signing.
And they
Drummond
won all those
look
games.
Patrick
Williams basically didn't play the entire season anyway.
I know.
So,
he pretty much didn't play last night.
As bad as Patrick Williams was, I think he'll be better than that going forward.
Yeah.
I think over the 41.5 is a good bet.
I mean, Lonzo missed a lot of time last year too, so who knows if he plays at all this year.
I just said everybody's waiting for Patrick Williams to be the next Kawhi. I'll put my stock in what Io is going to be more than I will in what Patrick Williams is going to be.
I'll agree with that.
CHGO's.
CHGO's.
Yeah, true.
Time for the report cards. I feel like, I missed the boat on this. We should have had some music for this. Maybe not Creed, but something. We should have come up with some, like, School's Out for Summer, Hot for Teacher maybe,
Okay.
Van Halen. Kyle Hendricks, report card. People said they wanted some...
You wanted some bad, we're giving you the
weren't
bad.
as good as the others. Collada suggested we were going to give all A's and B's.
Michael Collada, I expect you to put this like on your ceiling and watch it while you're in bed. Thank you.
We're sending Michael Collada into the weekend with.
We're sending Michael Collada into the weekend with
early weekend, fall time shy. All right, Cody, hit us with your Kyle Hendricks report card for 2022.
All right, I went results D-, stuff / adjustments. F+, and overall F+. I put the plus just because I like Kyle and because I have hope that things will turn around in 2023. But results D- because, again, it was a lot of the same from last year, this year. You came into this year hoping that he can get back to being consistent like he was during the golden era. He had the great start in San Diego.
Didn't he have a good one against the Brewers beginning of the season?
I mean, he had some good starts, of the few that he had.
There was 4 7-inning, run, scoreless 7-inning.
Yeah.
He had a few good starts, but he also had a lot of bad starts. And it was inconsistent. It was everything wrong that we were hoping wouldn't happen this year for Kyle Hendricks. And that's why, for me, results D-, and then stuff adjustments F, because he didn't, he had the classic bad April from Kyle Hendricks. It's death, taxes, and Kyle Hendricks' awful Aprils. And then, you were hoping going into May that he would get to, what he does, right? From May in 2021, from May to August, he was great in 2021, right? So you're hoping that he could get back to that. And again, he had that start in San Diego, the complete game or whatever, or the 8 2/3.
He owns them, yeah.
He had a great start there, and then it was back to some more bad and inconsistent. Like, there was no adjusting and the stuff. I mean, the stuff is great, like when he's going, right? But like as far as getting better after April, I felt like he didn't do much of that. And then the injury, like he's never had a history of injuries at all, right? And I know we can't fully blame injuries for everything, but like when you don't pitch for half the year and you come into the year, you're looked upon as being like the number 1 or number 2 in the rotation, you're getting an F from me, man. Like that's just what it is. F+, sorry. Again, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to believe in him, but like that's why I've had these questions like throughout the second half and going into the offseason. Like, can you rely on this guy? The Cubs are going to give him a shot. Ryan, Brennan are telling me that he's going to have the opportunity. My only question is how long the leash is. And if it's a lot of what we saw this year in some parts of 2021, then I think that leash is not very long, man.
So you still love him, but you're down on the relationship.
I'm down on it right now. And like it sucks. I don't want to give Kyle Hendricks, the guy who pitched Game 7 and pitched the greatest game in Wrigley Field history of my life in the NLCS in 2016. I don't want to give him an F. Like, that's how far it's fallen, man. Like,
Yeah.
An F+.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like
Thank you, Sarah.
I don't.
F+.
It's
I
still
don't
a
want to
fail, but
give.
it's not a complete fail.
Yeah, it's a fail with a smiley face at the
Yeah,
end.
like
You're my buddy.
You suck, dude. But like
You're still my buddy.
I still love you. Like you gave me one of the happiest moments of my life. Like for sure. Like that. The emotional side of it is the plus. But as far as everything that we saw on the diamond this year from him, it's just like just a big disappointment. And like the leash for me going into next season is not long. And I hate saying it. So I hope someone send him this and hopefully he gets some like Jordan energy of like, and I took that personally. And then like he can hold it over me for the rest of my life. That's fine. I don't care. I just
like when Steele dropped you on Twitter.
Yes.
And then
yes. When he unfollowed me on Twitter. Like, please just like whatever it takes, man. That's all I'm asking. F+, sorry.
There you go.
All right, Ryan.
All right. So mine were actually flipped a little bit. Went F on the results, D- on the stuff. Stuff adjustments. That was the category, and then F+ on overall. So just flipped the results and the stuff. Results, I had to go F because it was just like a lot. Most of like the stats that matter were like career worst. Highest ERA of his career. Lowest F/WAR of his career. Most by far, I think is the most walks per 9 of his career, at least right there near the top. It was just, it wasn't a good season for him. And coming off 2021, you wanted to see him bounce back. I know the Cubs and him both were really, really hoping for a bounce back season, and that just wasn't what this was. Just the results overall. I mean, it just. When you look at the overall numbers and what he did, just they weren't good, and they just compounded on a very bad second half for him last year. I know he's had struggles. I know he had that one stretch, like first half of the season, that he was okay. What?
Do you see this?
I see Michael Collada's
the
grade.
most positive grade of the day for Kyle Hendricks is Michael Collada.
C-.
See?
All right.
C-.
I need to hear Collada's explanation for that. But
let us know.
Tom,
the
stick around. We have fun even in the off season.
The results were, again, just not what you wanted them to be. I will say, the changeup is still really, really good. When he was on, and there were times where he was making adjustments, especially earlier in the season, and you would see it's like he would make adjustments as far as like he knew what he needed to do well. Like he's like I might getting my fastball too high. I need to get it low outside, low and away. And then the next start, like there was one in Milwaukee that he was talking about, and the next start he did that really well. You talked about the near complete game in San Diego. He had 4 or 5 quality starts. 2 of those, 4 or 5, and then 3 of those were at least 7 innings shutouts. So it's like it wasn't just all bad from the get go. But for the most part, it was. When he was bad, he was really bad, and you hated to see that out of Kyle because he'd been so good for the first 8 years of his career. Like I think it's 6 or 7. he from 2014 to like I actually wrote a story, allchgo.com, the other day on Kyle, and like pretty much asking that question: Can the Cubs count on Kyle Hendricks in 2023? Looking at the numbers, his ERA, don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was 10th among all starters in the major leagues from 14 to 20. His F-WAR was 15th among all starters from 14 to 20. He was such a good pitcher for a very long time, and the last couple of years just hasn't been that way for him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Now the shift is going away too. It's I just the more I think about it, the more it gives me heartburn. Like I want to believe, guys. I want to believe, but it's hard.
Well, the shift going away, they're gonna have to do things to remedy that, so that guys like Kyle Hendricks, guys like Marcus Stroman, guys like Justin Steele, who get a lot of ground ball outs, aren't gonna be like their numbers aren't gonna tank because they have a guy like a guy we're about to talk about soon who can't play defense up the middle.
Yeah. That's why you have to have Dansby Swanson or someone else added to that. That mix up the middle.
That's why they're trying to get a shortstop. Like that's why they're expected to be in the shortstop market, because if you can have a guy at shortstop, or even if that guy's willing to move to second base and you just flip flop him with Nico, either vice versa with Nico, like that's an awesome up the middle defense. And then a guy like Kyle Hendricks won't be hurt by poor play up the middle. Like that's. I'm not saying that has everything to do with Kyle Hendricks' struggles. I know he's been injured, but I do know that if a guy is struggling, poor or really good middle infield defense will help cover up some of the struggles. If you have poor middle infield defense behind a pitcher who's struggling, it looks even worse than it might be.
That's a good point. I mean, now I feel bad, but yeah, I mean, the Cubs defense in general wasn't very good this year. Maybe, adding like a guy like whoever up the middle with Nico, then maybe that changes things for him. Kyle Hendricks is at his best when he's getting the ground balls. Yeah. He's got the changeup going, and like it does, like Tom says something about. He said he didn't. I don't know if this has any merit. Yeah, he says I don't know if if this has any merit, as Hendricks was never been a power pitcher. When your changeup and fastball don't have much variation in speed, you're in trouble. Well, that doesn't explain how he was everything that Ryan said from 2014 to 2020, being top 15 as a starting pitcher in F-WAR. ERA you said was like top 10?
It was top 10.
Top 10. And that's a 6-year stretch. And like those Cubs teams during the golden era, they had a great defense.
7 years.
7 years. Sorry, I can't math.
I had to count on my fingers.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the defense behind him definitely plays a part. So maybe again, I'm not changing my grade, but
but you're thinking about it.
I'm not changing my grade.
Collada went C-. Cody was like, how could I go F+?
I'm not changing my grade, but yeah, if the Cubs get better defensively, not only would it help Hendricks, but it helps Stroman too.
Everyone,
and
man.
Steele,
okay, whatever, Downer Del Mendo.
Anyone who Wade Miley, had he been healthy, was a big time ground ball pitcher.
Yeah,
has always been like they have a lot of those ground ball pitchers that aren't
probably too many.
Yeah, probably. But if you have really good defense around the diamond, that makes up for stuff.
All right. Luke. So my report card, I'll keep it fairly short. Like I went D-, and my grade is incomplete because he just didn't pitch enough. And I'm a little bit like what Cody and Collada were saying, like Cubs legend. I don't want to be too harsh. He's the last guy left from the World Series. He still made a respectable salary. It's like $7 million isn't like you weren't paying $25 million, and he turned in this injury season. I don't like the dump on guys for being injured.
Yeah,
but the results. 16 starts. The ERA was definitely his worst of his career, 4.80, and his WAR was 0.5. So when he was on the mound, he wasn't great. But there were those couple shutout games, so I went D. I said, overall, I got to go at least D-. Now, again, Ds get degrees, but that if the same performance happens next year, then it's not a passing grade.
Yeah.
He hasn't really had a season where he lost this much of it to injury and has been this ineffective in long chunks. So right now it's a D-. I think Kyle Hendricks would tell you it's at least a D.
If he can develop that slider like you and Brennan are like.
That's what I was going to say. Like Michael Colada said, Hendricks figured out his slow stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time. He's had a lot of time. I know as of last week he hadn't started throwing. There's still a lot of time. Still a lot of time to
I do think developing another pitch would be very beneficial for him because, like Michael says, hitters have just figured out his slow stuff.
And I will say,
if he implements a new pitch, maybe that will change things.
I will say his curveball spin rate was in the 96th percentile. Like he was able to get that spinning.
Yeah, and
a lot. A slider, if he's able to command a slider well with the kind of spin that he's able to put on his other breaking ball, that slider might look really, really good if he's able to develop it well.
I mean, I will have a little bit more optimism on Hendricks if we get into spring training and people were talking about him implementing a new pitch.
And you went F plus, D-. Again, maybe me not doing an F plus was that another thing was I know he greatly impacted a lot of the young pitchers.
Yeah, that's
he's there and he not only teaches the young guys, he wants to teach.
Right.
So there's got to be a half a grade in there somewhere. So that's why I think I went D-. All right,
Frank
now
says,
they're not going to be nearly as kind when we get to VR.
Yeah, but before we get to that, Frank says, I think he's asking a question. He said, you guys always on Monday through Thursday at 1:20? Yes, we are.
Monday through Thursday,
Says he's in
1:20.
Buffalo. So.
And then Brendan and Corey
Bills.
on Friday.
Yeah, Brendan and Corey will have their
drops.
Friday morning. I wonder if...
but it's not live on YouTube. So if you subscribe on Apple or Spotify or Google, wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to them on
We're always
Fridays.
live at 1:20 Monday to Thursday.
Yeah, always live.
You guys are so negative, Michael Colada. Well played.
Well played, Michael. Well played.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah, she's... All right, time to get even more negative.
Yeah, now
I guess,
you want
Michael
to see some
Colada.
negativity.
You want some negativity.
All right, let's get to the guy, Jonathan Villar.
All right.
Oh, you know what? First, I want to do pins and aces.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Pins and Aces, the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear. Get tons of compliments on and off the course. They are a family-owned golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, even our favorite beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right in your golf bag, keeping your drinks cold the entire round. Check out pinsandaces.com. Use the code CHGO to receive 15% off your first order. Get free shipping. Pinsandaces.com. Golf weather, dare I say, the next 4 days. Fall golf is the best. And Cody, what about the old DraftKings folks? We're so happy to be part of DraftKings. That's all I know. Kids in a candy store.
Oh yeah,
Ryan's gambling game is almost Del Mendo level.
Ryan is he's turning into a real degenerate, and it's a beautiful thing. Honestly.
But it's like I've made like $300 in 2 days.
Oh whoa, $300 in 2 days.
Good for him.
DraftKings, man.
Cody was so excited we got DraftKings. He placed the same bet twice.
On accident.
Anyway, was it on accident? Was it subconsciously?
I did live bet the Bulls money line last night, and I had Io DeSumo over on points.
Yep.
Io DeSumo overs are undefeated since he joined CHGO. So, NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, so tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets. So if you had signed up yesterday, put $5 on the Bulls moneyline, you would have won a decent amount of money. That $5 gets you plus $200. I mean, just don't miss out anymore. I mean, because you can do this tonight if you wanted to. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped-up same-game parlay today with payouts bigger than ever. DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code CHGO. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply.
Frank's in. There we go. Getting closer to our 500 a show.
There you go.
Love it.
Thank you, Frank.
Shout out to you, Frank.
So we wanted some sort of hot for teacher music, maybe for the general grades. The VR one should be like the Imperial March from Star Wars. Dun, 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 dun. Like Jonathan VR. I know what these grades are going to be. These 46 games of misery. That's what it was.
46 games of misery. Okay.
It was.
I mean, I'll just try and keep it short because everyone knows. But we're going offense F-, defense F-, which also gave me a form of PTSD in my opinion, and overall F-. This guy, when we grade Jed Hoyer later in the offseason, this guy will be a reason why you can take points away from Jed Hoyer. I don't want to completely hate the guy, but he was just awful. He was literally awful. He was brought in we thought he was going to platoon with Patrick Wisdom at third base, and his defense was so bad that they tried moving him to short and second base, and he couldn't field at either of those positions either. And you thought, well, at least he's got the offense. Well, he didn't hit either. So outside of that one series in Colorado, I mean, it was literally that. I felt like he hit well at Colorado, and then the entire season changed for him. His bat speed was slow. One of the reasons the Cubs were so bad in the first half was because David Ross kept putting him in the lineup every single day. And I sat on this podcast and screamed at the clouds like an old man, like Luke Stuckmeyer. And
that was an unnecessary shot.
I screamed at the clouds about why in the world are we continuing to play this guy when there were guys in Iowa that deserve an opportunity, and we were at a point where, okay, the team isn't going to make the playoffs, the team isn't good, let's give some young guys an opportunity.
You know why? And this is my opinion. I don't know. I'm not reporting anything. This is my opinion. Well, for one, I disagree that this is a huge black stain on Jed Hoyer.
I'm not saying it's a black stain. I'm just saying
the signing.
I'm not
I actually
saying
liked the signing when they made it. I was like,
he was a 2.5 WAR player, and he was actually a positive defensive run saved at shortstop last year for the Mets. He wasn't a bad. He was definitely not
the previous year with the Mets. Yeah,
2020. Yeah, sorry, 2021 with the Mets. He was actually a positive player. So I don't the signing was good. It just didn't work out. But the reason
that goes on Jed Hoyer though. That's how we look at things, right? We sit here and we talk about Jose Quintana and all that, and people want to hate on Theo.
Okay. But, yeah, we'll
got to take the good and the bad on
yes,
your work.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. But I'm someone who defends Theo for making that trade. But if we're gonna do it, if people are gonna do it for him, then we got to do it for Jonathan Villar. Sorry.
But the reason why I feel like the complaints of why they keep playing Jonathan Villar, I think they were trying to build his trade value. Can he bounce back? Can he rebound, have a good stretch so that we could just trade him away and get something?
Yes.
That's
100.
why he was playing someone. There's a reason why they DFA'd him as soon as it was very clear no one was going to trade anything for him. They were trying to build that.
I understand that.
They were trying to build
I think that they held on too long. That's just my opinion.
That anybody could see there was no trade value.
Yeah. But it was if you were complaining at the end of April or early May, why is Jonathan Villar?
Well, I wasn't complaining.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying anyone that's why is he still playing?
It was more in June for me.
I couldn't believe it. He was worse with the Angels than he was with the Cubs. Now that's unbelievable.
I was done in June. That's when I was definitely done. I was done in June. I tried really hard, and it didn't work out. And yeah.
F minus.
F minus, man.
All right, Ryan, what do you got? What do you have for him?
So
we got 3 more minutes
for Jonathan Villar. I got a F minus on offense. I went F minus on his defense.
That's the first ever.
And an F minus overall. It was just bad. Like I said, he was actually a positive player at shortstop last year in terms of defensive runs saved. This year at second base, he was -7 defensive runs saved, -5 outs above average. At third base, -3 defensive runs saved, -7 outs above average. At shortstop, he was -2 defensive runs saved, -3 outs above average. It just was a very bad defensive season. I think, what was it? Was it 5? I forgot what it was exactly, but he had 5 errors, and
he had the yips at one point.
It was to the point where, and I don't remember the exact the exact amount, but it
Yeah.
was like if
At third, it was like, what's going on with him?
it was like if you average it out to how many innings he was playing versus how many errors he made, it
Yeah.
was like at least an error every 4 games or something like that. Versus like if you did like 9-inning games,
Yeah, right.
It was like an error every 4 games, something like this. And then there were so many we've talked about like on previous shows that were like don't show up as errors in the score sheet, but they were errors. Like they were misplayed balls, and it was just like you started to kind of feel bad for the guy because it was like I think he had the yips. Like he was just making bad play after bad play, and he just couldn't get out of it.
Yeah.
Like it was, I agreed like to an extent later on in the season. It's like, okay, what are you gonna get for Jonathan Villar in a trade? And it might just be better to let someone else take that time in the infield. Like they got to a point where that was 100%. I agree with that. It got the case, and then offense. I mean, he was like a 50-something WRC plus.
Negative WAR. Negative 1.2 WAR.
58 WRC plus, negative 1.3 WAR. It was just overall
For the sake
bad.
of his career, I hope he bounces back next year with whatever team, if a team actually gives him a chance.
And that's
But
what
yeah,
I'm
like
That might be the
I
end.
remember we did like the signing. We did like I
We
thought
were
it was
like,
fine.
The signing was
he
fine.
stole bases
I mean,
last year. We were all excited. Look at how many bases
like,
he
oh,
stole.
that's-
That's what I'm saying.
decent.
2021, he was an above. He was a 2.5 WAR player. He was an above average hitter.
We saw
Like
with the
it
Mets,
was-
right?
it was.
But
Between
it was
the
a big
three of us,
fail.
the highest grade we gave him in anything was an F-.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lou.
So when I have mine, I probably should have gone F-. I didn't know you could do that defensively, but I would. I don't know if F- is actually. I don't know if anybody in school ever got an F-, but I guess it's possible. Defensively was really. That's where I would bang my head. Like the at bats were frustrating. The defense. Cody said he couldn't play short. He couldn't play second. He couldn't play third. Frankly, defensively, he couldn't play DH. He couldn't play any of them, right? He just couldn't do anything right. So F-, super fail, one of the worst signings they had it was the worst signing probably the offseason. And again, I will admit that I thought it was a decent signing at the time. Yeah. Didn't work out. His season was so bad that he got hurt with a stretching band knocking out his teeth.
Yes, I remember that.
Like, he couldn't even work out right.
Yeah.
It
That
just
was a classic
That's
Cubs
when I actually
injury.
felt for him. Like, the guy's got his mouth, like, sewn shut. Like, he can't even work out with a stretchy band without something going wrong.
It was an experiment that did not work out.
And that's why
that
we
is like the best way I could put it. I think it just did not
Yeah,
work.
it didn't
out.
work.
And that's why why I sit here and pray with this depth that they have on the farm that they don't need to make free agent signings for guys like Jonathan Villar.
Just to fill out the bench or be role players.
I have a
That they could just
question.
bring guys up. Yeah, I agree with that.
I have a question for our buddy Brendan, who hates the Sogard. He doesn't like when I even say that. Who was worse in a Cubs
man.
uniform?
You know what? We'll send him that question. Him and Corey can talk about it on the podcast.
Debate that on
At
Friday's
least Jonathan
podcast.
Villar seemed like a good dude.
If you had to play one of the two, who would you play? Yeah, he also had. I will say, maybe I should have gone just straight F because he did have a little swag. His uniform was always
He
sharp.
always did look good with the uniform, with like the
the
arm
wristbands,
sleeve.
everything was
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a nice guy. Like, interacting with him in the clubhouse was fine. I know the guys on the team, especially like on the Latin American players, gravitated towards him. They liked him, but just as like an on-field person, it just didn't. It wasn't good. It wasn't.
That's why I feel a little bad about the F-, but we're grading the performance, and it was not good.
No, it was. I don't
46 games too many.
think being a good person, like he is a good
Yes.
person. From what I in my experience, I just can't say that completely in any way offsets how bad he was on the field.
Tom says Sogard at least pitched.
All those blowouts, man.
Did VR pitch in a game?
I
No,
don't
I wanted
remember.
it. That's what I
Yeah.
begged for. I
Yeah,
begged for
you-
VR to pitch one game.
One before we head out, one last thing. Ian Happ is a
good.
finalist for the NL.
Who are the
Gold Glove in
others?
left field. Oh, you're gonna hate this. I can't remember the second one. Was it Rojas? I think. No, I'm
That's shortstop.
at shortstop. Yeah, Peralta. Sorry, Peralta from the Diamondbacks. Christian Yelich from the Brewers.
Oh, if Yelich wins over Hap,
Christian
all the
Yelich,
gambling in the world won't help Cody.
He was awful. He always looks awful out there defensively.
Well, we're just
I'm
telling
not-
you.
God,
You can't
no,
yell
wrong
about
people.
Yadi Molina anymore, but
You
Christian
talk-
Yelich is still there.
Gotta ask
I'm
Rawlings.
giving more energy to hating Christian Yelich next year now that Yachty's freaking retired. Oh, man.
And should we do the
Yeah,
real quick?
don't forget the next tailgate's coming up for the Bears. It's against the Dolphins or Miami, however you want to say it, coming up Sunday, November 6th. Make sure you go and get your tickets. $46, booze, beer, drinks, vibes, food, breakfast. Yep. Donuts were there last time. Taco trucks. Gonna be some grilling going on, I heard.
Yeah.
I'll
Starts
be there.
at 8.
We got to get off, though, because the Blackhawks guys are coming up with the next great podcast here at CHGO. So thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. We'll see you next week.